Welcome to Roots Magoots, where today we are going to be refretting this Dean Exile 7 multi-fret because they decided to use nickel frets on a $2,600 guitar, which is pretty insane to me. And also the frets were unlevel. So I did some spot leveling, but I'm not super happy with it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna refret the whole thing with some Jescar gold frets, which are much better. Fortunately, this is a bolt-on guitar, which makes the fret job a whole lot easier. So first thing we're going to do is unbolt the neck and get it set up to start removing the frets. All right guys, so the neck is now removed. Here is the back side of the neck. And next thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up these frets and pull them out. One thing I like to do is to cut like a little notch in the soldering iron, so it kind of wraps around the fret and helps you not skip off onto the fretboard. All right guys, so I got all of the frets out of here, no blowouts. Here are the old frets. And then I use the StuMac pullers. I really like those a lot. Usually don't give me any problems. Next, I'm going to take and clean out the frets with the saw and then also with my little digger. And both StuMac stuff, which I love. And I'll get those all set, and then I will make sure that the depth is correct. And I will use my sanding block. One side on this block, I like this block a lot, and I got this from Amazon, but one side is 12-inch radius, the other side is 16, and this Dean Exile Multiscale is a 16-inch radius neck. So I'm just going to use this guy and sand it all smooth, and then I will start cutting and prepping frets. All right guys, so it's been a little while since I checked in, but basically I've got the fretboard all nice and prepped, sanded down. I used 600 and then 800 and just kind of leveled everything out. And I cleaned all the slots out, and then I checked the depth gauge, which all of these are nice and plenty deep enough for the Jescar wire. And speaking of which, I got all my wire cut here and cleaned with acetone. What I'm gonna do next is use my little Tang nippers here, and I'm gonna cut those Tangs off here, which I need to do because this is a bound fretboard, so I need to remove the Tang just on the edges of the frets. Since the frets are on the larger side, I've got the large adapter on here, and should be good to go. All right guys, so now I have all of the frets kind of in place. I used the Tang nippers and I cut down the ends so they can go over the fretboard binding. And it ends up looking like this. And then what I still need to do is see the underside right there. What I use is a fret end file, StuMac fret end file, and I kind of just lightly shave underneath there so that that's super flush. And then when I cut the Tang, I leave it just a little short because I bend these frets so they're just a little bit more, a little stronger than 16 degree, so that way the ends kind of press down. There's more force on the ends when I hammer them in. So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll start putting the frets in this thing. All right, guys, while I am filing down the Tang on here, I always wanted to show you guys this little jig I made up. It kind of holds the fret straight so it doesn't move on you. I saw this idea on StuMac and I thought it was a great idea. And you can put it in a vise knot. For right now, I'm just got this by hand, and I just used my little fret end file on here. I kind of get in there and flatten it out. But it's a great idea for keeping things nice and level, and that way the fret doesn't roll on you. And then also, I've got this set up for different frets or whatever. That's why I got the different holes, but it's just a little 2x4 cut up, and it works really good. All right, so everything is filed down the fretboard is now level. I ended up having to level out the fretboard. From the factory, it had some high spots here and there on there that did not have to do with the truss rod adjustment, by the way. Truss rod's adjusted where the neck is perfectly flat, but I had some places, you can see over here, and then right on the sides, and then especially down here, around here, I had to level it out with 600 grit, and then I went over 1,000 just to kind of smooth everything out. Next, I'm gonna start dropping the frets in there, which I got them prepped right there. And basically what I do is I'll drop the fret in, and then I tap it in with a hammer, and then I'll lay down some paste wax. I'll take a little deal in there and pipe on a thin layer of paste wax, and then I'll run CA in the fret, and then wipe away, and I'll keep on working all the way down. And then I clean up the paste wax once I'm done, clean up everything. So I'm gonna get started on this and circle back when I'm done. All right guys, so I've got all of the frets installed now, and the installation process went pretty easy, pretty straightforward. They're all glued in and set now. Everything is actually relatively level. I'm going to obviously have to level things out, but it's pretty nice to start off with. And I've marked all the tops of the frets with blue marker. That's why you kind of see that little blue hue on there. And I do that so when I'm leveling, I can kind of see what's hitting, what's not hitting. I do the leveling with the StuMac 300 grit diamond file. And I'll just go across here and do that. And then I have the 90-degree beveling file, which I'll do on here after I use my fret cutters and cut off the ends. I'll get a nice bevel on there and should be good to go. Getting there, making progress. Slow progress is being made. I have done all of the leveling, so it's all level, and I've moved the ends of the frets. So next I need to recrown these guys and then also level the ends. So I use my StuMac Z file for that, for as far as the crowning, and then I just use my fret end dressing file for the fret ends, and then should be good to go after that, but it's starting to take a bit more shape. All right, so I've done a bit since I last checked in, and everything was beveled and fret ends filed, and I taped off the board. Now I've started going through here and sanding all the frets. And so far, I kind of worked my way through. I'll start with 220 and then 400, 800, 1200, which is up next, and then the 2000, 4000, 8000. If I'm in a hurry, I'll use the little sanding wheels. This one is like, I can't remember. I think it's about 800 and this is about 2000 equivalent. But it's starting to show up. It's starting to look more like a fretboard. I'm starting to get a gloss to it, so should be done with this soon. Here is the neck all completed and the fingerboard is oiled. Now I need to obviously bolt it back onto the guitar, and then I'm going to have to readjust the nut because the fret height is different, which by the way, if you guys have ever checked out Music Nomad, they have this little nut height setup, which I absolutely love. And then obviously I'll have to adjust the truss rod and then the string height, but it should be good to go after that. All right guys, so it's all done. It's all strung up and tuned up, and I really love the way that this thing came out. These frets are a bit smaller than the ones that were on there, so I had to drop the nut a bit, about 1/2 millimeter on the low and 1/4 millimeter on the high. But everything's dialed in now. I keep my truss rod pretty straight, just a little, maybe like 0.8 relief on there, or 0.08 relief on there, so very minimal. But I I really like it. It came out really good. And then everything kind of matches, although it's hard to kind of tell in this light, but you know, with my rollers, and I got the bare knuckle nail bomb and cold sweat in here with the gold slugs, and then the gold Jescar frets, and it looks pretty good. I'm pretty jazzed on it. I appreciate you guys watching this, if anybody is watching this, but it plays a lot better. These frets are super awesome. They're butter smooth. They just feel 10 times better than nickel frets. And then also just the polishing alone helps out too. So if you have a guitar that feels like crap or whatever when you're bending, I recommend just using the fret erasers and sanding those down and then using all the way up to 8,000 grit, because I mean, it'll play butter smooth and it feels absolutely amazing when it's done. All right, you guys will be able to hear this on the next time it's played, and the next cover I do. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. See you guys later.